is called to order, and Mr. Sykes, you're up.
All right, good evening, Council President and members of the City Council. Tonight we have project updates from two of our regional transportation partners, the Washington State Department of Transportation and Sound Transit. From WashDOT, we have Lisa Hodgson who will give us an update on the I-405 SR 167 corridor program. And Paul Cornish with Sound Transit will update us on STRIDE. And STRIDE is the name of the I-405 bus rapid transit service, which will begin in 2024 and will include our new transit center. So with that, I'll let you guys go ahead.
Okay.
Table and-
Thank you.
Can you hear me okay? There we go. Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. We always like to come and work with the City of Renton. We do appreciate all the help and support you've given our program over the years, and also through this last ledge session. So with that, I will start talking about our 405-167 corridor program. As we look at our program, we really have two guiding documents that help us strategically look at how to build out our master plan on both 405 and 167. So our master plan for 405 is fairly robust. It's a multimodal plan, multi-agency endorsed plan. And then in that 2009, 2010 timeframe, 167 also became part of our corridor. And that plan is more of a highway plan, but through this last ledge session, money was appropriated to look at that and bring it up to a master plan standard. So that will be occurring over the next few years. And then looking at what we have on the horizon here, so over the next 5 to 6 years, we have quite a bit of work going on. And so that top portion in the gray is the Connecting Washington package that came to us in 2015. In particular, those top two lines are Renton-centric. So that first line was the Direct Connector project that opened up this February, and that was the connection between 405 and 167. That second line up there is the Renton to Bellevue project, which I'll spend most of the time tonight talking about our progress on that. The green portion below are the things that came on with the legislative session this year and are related to toll revenue and projects that will be occurring. The main focus here is really to look at that green shaded area. So over the next 5+ years, we have a lot of work going on through this whole 40-mile corridor, and really working with our Sound Transit partner to align with the oncoming of bus rapid transit. I think the most exciting piece of this is at the end of this adventure that we're on, the look and feel and the commuting options that are going to be out there will be dramatically different from what we see today. So when we look at Renton to Bellevue, we have awarded that contract to a joint venture between Flatiron West Incorporated and the Lane Construction Corporation. That came in just slightly under budget, so our budget was $710 million, and we awarded that for just shy of $705 million. The big thing with that was with toll authorization this year through the ledge session, we were able to keep our commitments and award on time so that we could work with our partner agencies on our commitments with our schedule. This project, just a refresher, is the extension of the express toll lanes, a dual system from downtown Bellevue to 167. It also adds GP or general purpose capacity in the southbound direction in 2 locations. So from about I-90 to 112th or exit 9 in that southbound direction. And then again from Northeast 44th Street to Northeast 30th Street in the Renton area. We also have some partner work that we'll be doing for Sound Transit, which I'll talk about, and as well as King County. So for King County, we'll be completing part of their East Trail for this project. In the purple area, that's the pieces that WashDOT will be constructing with this project. It's about 2.5 miles of trail. The dashed lines show the pieces that King County will be taking care of. And then when you look at the segment for Renton, that's from Coal Creek Parkway clear down to the Ripley Lane area. So some trail work that will go on. That's slated to be one of the first pieces of work that will happen with the project. I know you're all familiar with this area, but this is Northeast 44th Street, so looking at the interchange there, the VMAC facility off to the left. Just wanted to give you a visual what it looks like today, and then further when we're done with this project, this is what that interchange will look like. This is a partnership with Sound Transit to rebuild this interchange to not only bring direct access, but also an inline station for bus rapid transit. And if my video doesn't work. You can see in the center there that direct access just means that the bus system or the commuters can come up through the center of the freeway system. That bus will pick up passengers in the center and then can continue on through the middle section of the freeway. You can also see that in the middle section off to the right where that cloverleaf used to be, where you could get onto northbound 405, that will be moved a little bit further to the north, up near where the public storage area is. And so a different way for folks to get onto northbound 405 at this interchange. Moving just a little bit further to the north, so at 112th Avenue Southeast, or also Exit 9, folks know that as. That has a park and ride lot currently there today. As part of this project, we will also be building a direct access there. This is something that we're also working with Sound Transit and Metro on to be able to offer those bus connections at that interchange as well. So when you look at Renton Bellevue, we have awarded the contract. We're expecting to execute that contract sometime this week, giving them notice to proceed. Once that happens, we will start what's called a practical design workshop and look at some ways to see if there's some ideas and innovations that weren't captured prior to awarding that contract that we can implement. The team will be co-locating in Renton, so the Flatiron currently has an office building in the vicinity of Talbot Road and Puget Drive, and so the main project office will co-locate there with the joint venture. You might see some pre-construction activities going on towards the end of this year, so some of that orange fence will be out. But really the heavy earth-turning work will happen next spring, some groundbreaking at that point. Looking forward to getting our schedule from that design builder, and so in the future we can come back to the council and talk about what that looks like when they start to phase that work in the future. And that's what I had for you today. Any questions from folks?
Any questions? I have questions. I live on Renton Hill, as you know.
I know that. Hello,
You
Councilman
would have been
Person.
disappointed if I didn't ask. What are the, you don't, I realize it's a design build, but my understanding there could be some changes in the way the Renton Avenue Bridge over 405, is it just going to be reconstructed in its same location but wider?
Yes, so we'll be doing some widening of it. The beauty of design build is the innovation that comes with that, and so this design builder has come up with some plans in which we don't have to do a full freeway closure to rebuild or widen the portions that we need. They don't need to rebuild the whole bridge. They found some innovative techniques to facilitate the width that we need out there.
So I'm making a guess that sooner or later you'll have something to meet with the Renton Hill people.
Yeah, you know, we did do some outreach prior to awarding the contract, and so when we have that contractor on board and we fully have vetted out their baseline schedule and gotten it approved, that's when we like to go out to the communities, and especially the Renton Hill, with that interaction that we had during the procurement phase, and just give them an update of what they can expect and what kind of closures might look like, and how we can communicate the best with them underneath the project.
And along those lines, there was at one point talk about going underneath the freeway and around the side, and it's, I've been told that it's actually not going to do that. We're going to go up and over
Yes.
as it is now.
Yep.
It's not going to go around. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're correct.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. It's always great to sit here next to Lisa. We've sat here in many council chambers over the last couple of years talking about the great partnership that Sound Transit and WashDOT have as we move forward, and this is particularly important with I-405. And this map, which I think you may have seen before, it basically shows the I-405 BRT, which will run from Linwood to Burien and actually run in two segments, Linwood to Bellevue and then Bellevue to Burien. And a good portion of this is either in the 405 right away being express toll lanes, which is what really makes the 405 BRT what it's going to be. Working the 518 and then some other parts. So that's why Lisa and I are very familiar with our presentations, and we could probably give each other's presentations. So we will have 11 BRT stations. We'll be in 8 cities. We'll have 1 transit center. That transit center will be at South Renton at the corner of Grady and Rainier Avenue. That's the Sound Ford site. We are purchasing that site for the transit center. We have possession and use of it, which means we can get on the site to do testing and things. We don't actually own it yet, but that's just all part of the process. What's really nice about the 405 BRT, we actually will join 3 light rail stations up in Linwood, the East Link station at downtown Bellevue, and then Tukwila International Boulevard station. So that's exciting how it really connects a lot of the transportation lines that you see in these faded blue and red lines in the back. They're a little hard to see. And we expect to have 15,000 to 18,000 riders a day in 2040. Now, one thing we might have is actually 11 BRT stations. As Lisa alluded to, they opened the bids for the Renton to Bellevue piece, and they got really good bids. We're a funding partner in that, so we were excited to see that they got good bids. And their contractor put in their bid the ability, they're going to build the direct access ramp at 112th, which is just South Bellevue by Newcastle, which was not in part of the SD3 plan, but we're evaluating the costs to do that, what the ridership would be, and what the impact to the overall BRT system would be to see if we want to add a stop there. So we have a great opportunity. That'd be a board decision to add that, but we're doing all the math of the numbers to take to them to see if they want to add that stop. So that stop might change up to 12. And then I really like this drawing a lot, and I can't speak to without talking about all the staff who've been working on this. We spent the last year plus refining the SD3 alignment. And this was refined by an interagency group that Jim Seitz was a very active member of. Lisa's on the group as well. And then we also had an elected leadership group that Councilmember Corman was on. So there's a lot of folks who have been working to refine this project. And what you see here, the blue lines, and the top is the North Line, Linwood to Bellevue, and the bottom is Buren to Bellevue. The top line, that's the amount of minutes it takes a regional express bus to travel that distance today. Like on the north end, it takes 57 minutes. The SD3 representative project that was on the ballot, they got that running time down to about 50 to 55 minutes. As all these people I just spoke to, as we refined this project, we got those expected running times down to 46 or 51 minutes. So that's a pretty good reduction. But we also have an opportunity to get that running time even faster, even cut that significantly down to 33. Oh, you can't really see that on that screen, can you? Down to 33 minutes. And this is because of the great work WashDOT has done and the North End project. We have an opportunity to actually get all of our BRT stations on the center of 405 as inline stops, as opposed to being ramp stops. And that's where you see that significant change in travel time. And that takes a little work that was not intended, not planned for ST3, but we are moving forward with a task order that our System Expansion Committee approved, see what it would take to make all this happen, because this will really make that those BRT travel times come down. And then on the south, we also, again, same thing. The gray line at 55 minutes, that's today. I think that's probably the 560, the representative project, and then ultimately the refined project is down to 38 to 42 minutes. So that's a significant amount of travel time savings that all the project partners in this room and others have been working on the last year and a half. I'd like to quick to the South Renton Transit Center. On your left, this is the map, and what's shown in blue, that is the property that Sound Transit is in the process of buying. This is the Sound Ford site. Mazda's on there. And it's adjacent to what's in the green, and that's existing park and ride that King County manages, owned by WashDOT. And then the picture on the right is actually the preferred layout scheme. And we had a working group, again, with key Renton staff, WashDOT, King County Metro, Sound Transit, went through a series of workshops, and we've developed this site on the right, which has the 700 parking stalls as prescribed in the SD3 ballot. It allows for almost 2 acres of property to be developed as a future transit-oriented development. It has all the active bus bays that we need for the BRT system, the rapid ride routes, the local metro routes, and also accommodates all the layover needs as well. And so that is what that would do. And again, we just wrapped that up last Wednesday with a great help from your staff. This is kind of a rendering. We're looking basically east here across Rainer Avenue. Grady would be to the right. This shows a representative building in the yellow D, which could be the future TOD. Now, when we looked at the TOD, what would be maybe the more likely development today, and we looked at, and it kind of worked out to be probably residential and or hospitality, which would be like a hotel. That being said, we had a great conversation with the Renton planning staff on Wednesday, because that's not what it's zoned for. They were looking for more commercial development. So, and that's great. That was a great conversation to have. But as we build the transit center, we'll continue to work with the city to see how do we set this 2 acres up to be successful for TOD. But it's great that we've already started to have this conversation with their staff about how that future development is going to fit into what the city is looking to develop there. And then a last thing on this, second last thing, is there's a future compatibility HCT study that was in Sound Transit 3. And I think Peter and I were here a while back talking about we could start the conversation to try to get that high-capacity study started sooner than later. The study itself assumes an east-west connection, West Seattle through Renton, and with the South Renton Transit Center as a likely station area. And so we've looked at that a little bit, at least through the through the transit center. When I look at that, I think of the South Bellevue Transit Center. We have the parking garage. We have a lot of bus layout and layover underneath it when they have Eastlink going above it. I see like that maybe as what it might look like, just rotated a little differently. So, we know this, we're going to do this study. We've looked at, we like the east-west orientation because it seems like if you're going to connect Tuckwell and Renton, you're probably going east-west. We know the Renton piece, when it ties up to West Seattle, where's the West Seattle light rail going to be? So they're kind of shaking their ideas out. They have some options. They're looking to have their project to be built into the front of the board in 2022. So there's and we need to finish the BRT work as well. So we know we have the HCT study that's on there. Peter talked about moving it up early, because usually these are at the back end of the program, and this is a long program. Talked about moving up sooner, but there are a couple things we need to flesh out first, which is like where's West Seattle Light Rail going to end up, so we know that target. But I like to mention that because I know this is important to the city. We've talked about this. I want to let you know that this is still on our radar. And then finally, this is Northeast 44th.
Excuse me,
Sure.
Ruth has a question.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for bringing us some good news about the study for the light rail. I do remember when Peter was here 3 years ago, and we asked specifically, we said, this is a priority for us. The study was supposed to be one of the first things that was on the plans, for ST3, and sometimes we get a little disappointed because we see, the Eastlink is going great, and now there are plans for bringing more light rail to Ballard, and it's great. I'm pro-transportation, but I have to advocate for the well-being of Renton and having our fair share. So I'm happy to see that finally we're moving along with at least with the study, and if you keep updating us on this, year will be great, because it's a question that we have frequently with our constituents, because it's not easy to move around.
Right. Yeah, and we probably won't start it for a couple of years until we get West Seattle figured out. But yeah, it's certainly on our radar, and we've actually, to give Jim his credit, he brings this up a lot as we work on the transit center, which is fantastic,
Good.
keeping it on our mind. And as we do get around to getting the other pieces figured out so we can move forward with the study, we'll certainly involve you and let you know what's going on there. So that would be great. And then my final slide is Northeast 44th again. Lisa alluded to this, that this will be built as part of the Renton to Bellevue piece by Flatiron. We'll have the new BRT station there. But over on the left, that's the Pan Abode property that we are currently in the process of purchasing. And the way ST defined the parking for this was a 200-stall surface parking lot. And we've had lots of conversations with your staff, as well as Vulcan, who are the property owners, and we're like, is there something else to be done? Is there a better use of how we can provide this parking other than a parking lot? And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's some sort of a joint development. Maybe it's a partnership in a garage. So we have ongoing conversations with Vulcan and the city, because we know we have the 200 stall parking lot, doesn't fit into what the city would like to see. So we're working together to see if we can find something that makes sense and is the win-win for everybody. So that was basically my presentation. We've been working hard, defining the project, great help from all the project partners, and certainly to the WashDOT side, because we're very excited to have that Renton to Bellevue piece going, because now I get to tell people that the BRT is under construction.
Any other question?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Yeah, I would just like to thank you for the presentations, and I don't actually have too many questions because I've been pretty involved with the committee work on this, but I would really like to say it's really functioning well. My hat is off to Washington State Department of Transportation, as well as to Sound Transit for the just the overall level of coordination on these two projects. They're realizing so much efficiency in combining the two projects at the same time. And then it can't be overstated how much improvement there is in this system with those inline stations that they've engineered. So it's really going to give a high-speed bus system on the east side that's in every way competitive with the Link Light Rail on the other side of the lake. And then I really want to commend you and thank you again for taking seriously our concerns about getting that study done early for the Link Light Rail connection to our new transit center. I just have a feeling that there may be a Sound Transit 4 that comes up, and if and when there is, this just has to be part of it. So it really has to be engineered and laid out to be able to be part of that, so that Renton is connected via rail as well. So thank you, great job, and I really appreciate your being here. And,
You bet.
I want to thank you for all the hard work you've done. Also, I should add, just great coordination with our staff. Just frequent, you reach out so often, and the compliments I've been getting from our staff here at City of Renton about how well this is going is really testifies to how hard you've worked to make it successful. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other comments, thank you for coming. It's been
bet.
very
Thank you.
informative, and I'm looking forward to getting more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Pretty.
I think they're still out.
Yeah, they're still waiting for the
Because
part, I
we
think.
look like we are in the 70s show. And I was looking at you.
No, I know.